Hello quilt artisans, my name is Shonda and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So I literally just got my Open Gate Quilt subscription box. So I want to give it an open. Let's see what we have this month. So this is the Open Gate Quilt subscription box. It is curated by Monique Jacobs over at Open Gate Quilts. And I really like this box. So let's see what we've got. Oh, hold on. Oh, shoot. I will put all of the information in the description box. But right now I'm just excited to open this and see what we have. Oh, I already see plaid. It looks like some Halloween stuff in there. So this is what it looks like. It's got some tissue paper and we've got the logo there. Okay. So we've got some words here. So let me just look at it really quick. Okay, okay. Ooh. Okay. So she said she decided to send the Halloween box early this year so that you have time to make the projects before October. I know that everyone doesn't love Halloween as much as I do. If you don't care for this month's projects or fabric, they make great gifts for one of your friends, or one of your friends may enjoy making them. Okay. So let's see what we got. So we have two projects. So the way this subscription works is that each month we have a larger project and a smaller project. And then we also have either a random notion or pattern or tool or some combination thereof to kind of round out the box and give us what we need to make the project. Usually if we need a tool to make the project, we get the tool. So let's start with our smaller project because I'll probably make this. So this is the spooky towel. Let's open this up. So we have a 20 by 28 black and white check kitchen towel, which is this right here. We have the border stripe, which is 7 inches by 22 inches, and that's this here. And then also in here, there's some black rickrack, which you can see back there. And we have a 6.5 by 22 inch piece of Heat and Bond light fusible webbing. Because like I said, generally whatever we need to make the project, we get. So I do like that. You don't have to source fusible because it's going to come. You're going to be able to make the project. The only thing that you're not going to have is backing and batting, generally. So yeah, this is cool. Let me show you guys what this towel looks like. It's kind of hard to see. It won't what's the word? Focus. But it's a cute little Halloween towel. And I almost always have like a towel in my kitchen for, you know, random things. And so this looks like a really quick make because you literally just the towel stays as is. You cut your border stripe, you cut your fusible webbing, you cut your rickrack. And it tells you where to put the rickrack. It tells you how to attach the border to the towel. Yeah, everything's here. And if you want additional instruction for the fusible, there's additional information on her website. So yeah, that's our small project. This this Halloween towel. Here's our fabric. Who is our fabric from? It's Old Salem by Henry Glass. That is where our fabric is coming from. So yeah, like this. I can definitely see myself making this because this is quick. So I am going away for a week in September for my birthday. You know, God willing, if nothing happens. And by all means, everything seems to be happening. It's just been really hectic. So literally on Friday, my son almost burnt the house down. My son decided, who has never cooked anything, decided that he wanted to make churros from scratch. So he put the oil in a small pot, like that little 1 quart pot. I don't even think it's a 1 quart pot. That little tiny pot that comes in a set. He put oil in there, put the oil on the fire, and the oil caught flame. It got too hot. The oil caught on fire. He tried to take the fire outside. The fire got bigger. He put the pan with the flames on the ground, on the floor of my home. The oil splashed and landed on his legs and his hands and the carpet and the couch. Now, fortunately, everybody is okay. My son's burns were minor. We put cold on them. We put a little petroleum jelly on them. I gave him some ibuprofen, and he was fine the next day. The couch and the carpet, not so much. Both of those will have to be replaced. So, could have been worse, but of course would have been better if it hadn't happened at all. Then yesterday, we are taking my fiance's daughter back home to Georgia. We drop her off. We're heading home. We are driving, and then all of a sudden it starts to rain out of nowhere, and we start to hydroplane out of nowhere. We spun about 3 times, ended up so we're traveling this way. The car spins counterclockwise, then starts to spin clockwise twice, and then we go sideways up an embankment. Now, fortunately, we did not flip over, and the car was okay enough for us to drive it home, but that's a $500 insurance claim that we were not expecting. So things have just been ridiculous. Anywho, that's our small project. And our large project is this. So it's a wall hanging. Old Salem Black Hat Society wall hanging. This finishes at 29 by 41. Let's see. Oh, this is what it looks like. This is so cool. Look at that. That is so cool. And easy. What's this, a panel? You gotta love this. So anyway, what I was trying to say was, I'm going to be going away for a week. Hopefully, I can recover from these unexpected expenses, right? So I'm supposed to be going away for a week. From September 6th through the 13th, going to the mountains. And I plan to bring my smallest sewing machine and something to sew. So I think some of Monique's smaller projects and like these wall hangings might be a good, project or two for me to bring along, because they're quick finishes that I can conceivably do, and they're already prepackaged and ready, so I don't have to like gather my blocks and gather my stuff and gather my patterns and I don't have to gather like my whips and UFOs and all that stuff. I can just maybe grab a couple of these packages that are ready to go and take with me. So that's a good idea for those of you who are in this subscription and are looking, maybe you don't get a chance to do these projects every month like me because you've got other stuff going on. When you go to that RV, and you want to bring, or you're going to that beach trip, that beach house or that cabin in the woods or that, you know, like I said, that RV or that fifth wheel, or, you know, even a cruise even. If those of you, you know, who might want to, that would be rough for me because there's not a lot of space in those cabins unless you're getting the big ones, the big pricey ones. I can't afford those. But these would be great little projects to bring along, because literally you have everything you need. You just grab the pouch, bring it with you, and you're ready to go. You know that you're going to have a completed top. So the only thing you would need to bring, should you want to completely finish the project, would be, you know, your batting. So yeah, let me get back to this thing here. Yep, so we have the panel, and then we have some additional fabric. We need 1 yard of backing, and a template kit, which of course is here. So this template kit, how does this work here? Of course we have instructions. Okay, so basically this is template plastic. So she's given us the template here. So you would use this to cut the shape from this, and then you have these little this here, these are little dots, these are little sandpaper dots, which you would use on the back of the template plastic to keep your template from slipping around on your fabric. I have some of these sandpaper things. These are black. I have the ones that are tan color, but they work the same way. These are great. These work great. So yeah, there's our second project. It makes this cute wall hanging. So that's going to be easy to do. And backing, 1 yard of backing fabric, that's not bad. All I do is, like, you know, cut out a yard of some black fabric I've got over there, and then bam, there's my backing. And this is ready to go. I can grab a strip of, not a strip, but a 1 yard piece of batting, and take this with me and have a completed project while I'm on vacation. And let's see, we also have a pattern. So she mentions that this is a new pattern. So this is called Roundabout. She's going to have kits. She said she's going to have kits. She has kits available on her website. And if you are a subscriber, you can get free shipping on the kit. There's a code in our box for that. This is a cute pattern. So you need 20 fat quarters, 3/8 of a yard inner border, and 2 1/4 yards for outer border and binding. And it finishes at 71 by 85. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I don't do a whole lot of themed stuff, but I have been shopping my stash, because I did not get a chance to do the Kimberly quilt along on Sunday with Gudrun. I wanted to, but I had to work. I had to earn some money. So I did not get to participate in that. So one of the things that I did consider doing was before I decided to do these smaller projects on my vacation, one of the things that I did consider doing was doing the Kimberly quilt along while I was on my vacation at the cabin. So I had chosen this Christmas fat quarter bundle here because I've never done a Christmas quilt, and I don't own a lot of Christmas fabric. So I thought about pressing this fabric and cutting out my 10-inch squares from it. I think this has 24 fat quarters. So I would be able to get 2 10-inch squares from each fat quarter for a total of 48 fat quarters. So maybe I'll save this for this. I don't know. because I think this will work really well. I mean, like, I've got a ton of batik fat quarter bundles, but I think I would like this with some prints, like some really nice prints, instead of the abstracts and florals that I normally go with. I think that this would work well with, I mean, of course it will work well with all of that stuff as well. Like, you could definitely do this in some nice batiks, and give yourself something a bit more adult and versatile. But I kind of like the novelty of this, and how you can kind of use these novelty prints. You can even also, if you wanted to calm it down, you could, I mean, I haven't looked at the pattern to see how this is constructed, but you could get an accent print for this outer. So you can see, let me take it out of the package. So you can see how in here you have this larger piece on the inside, and then it's bordered by this narrower strip. So what you could potentially do is get maybe 4 accent fabrics and use the 4 accent fabrics throughout the quilt to kind of give it, to kind of calm it down, if you like that, which I kind of do. I like calm quilts. So that's something I could see myself doing. Yeah, I like this. This is going to go in the, of course I'm looking at the construction, because, you know, the construction of the quilt determines whether or not it goes on my short list. How easy is it to make these blocks? So yeah, this is not bad. We've got some, you know, some pretty simple cutting, some pretty straightforward piecing. This is my kind of pattern here. Yeah, I like this. This is a great pattern. This is great. Okay, anyway, I'm talking too much. So let's recap. Well, there's a couple other things in here as well. So we have our thread, of course it's black, to coordinate with our projects this month. And then we have a couple of goodies. I got some Twizzlers, which are some of my favorite candy, honestly. And then we have a Tootsie Roll here. I love Twizzlers. Twizzlers, hot tamales, Red Hots. Something about red candy. Swedish Fish. I like all the red licorice candies. Speak to me. Anyway, so let's recap this box, because I still have something else I want to show you guys. So I have a finish. I finished my first bargello. This is Monique's pattern. This came in one of our subscription boxes. I decided to buy the kit for it, which came with 2 jelly rolls and the border fabric. So, and I finally got that finished, and I want to show you guys. So let me finish this up. So to recap, we have our smaller project, which is the spooky towel. And we have our larger project, which is the wall hanging, which is basically a panel and some fancy borders. Super easy. We have a pattern. This is a new pattern. There will be kits for this, according to the information here. There will be kits for this. And if you are a subscriber, you can get free shipping on your kit. We have our template plastic to make these triangles here. Oops. To make these triangles in our project. And of course we've got the little sandpaper thingies here to keep your template plastic from slipping on your project. And we have our black thread, and then of course we have a couple of treats, our Twizzlers and our Tootsie Roll. Okay, so that is our box for the month. Oh, also she says here that there's going to be a new Zoom class exclusively for box subscribers. So, hey baby. So every Wednesday, so it's going to be Wednesday, well not every Wednesday, I'm sorry. So on Wednesday, August 24th, she is going to do a demo, a tutorial on how to make, cut, and piece the templates. And we can ask questions. The class is from 7 to 8 Central Standard Time. And you can just email her to sign up. So that's kind of cool. And you do have to be a box subscriber. So that's new. I'm excited about that. Okay, so let me show you this quilt. I'm hoping I can get, it's large. It's definitely, it's more twin. It's definitely larger than a lap. So let me turn here. You can see more mess, but I'm gonna have to do that for you guys to see this quilt. Okay. So this is the quilt. Trying to, oh, that's not gonna work here. So this is the quilt. So this used 2 of the Dusk to Dawn jelly rolls, and I think it was 2 1/4 yards of border fabric. It was plenty of border fabric. I had enough left over. After cutting my borders and my binding, I still had, I don't know, half a yard of fabric left over, because she had us cut 9 border strips and I only needed 8. But I think this thing came out so pretty. I'm hoping you guys can see. I'm trying to show the whole thing. Okay. I know I totally messed up my hair, and I hope you guys could see the quilt. So this basically used, like I said, 2 petite jelly rolls. I did not iron anything prior to sewing. Whatsoever. I ironed not a single thing. I just started sewing. I just made sure that I did not use any steam throughout the process. So as I was, you know, pressing, because you're basically you use your jelly rolls to create strip sets, and then once you make the strip sets, then you cut them apart as she tells you in the pattern. And then I probably could have just flipped it over. I don't know what I'm doing here, but this thing came out so pretty. So then you subcut the strip sets according to the pattern. So the key with this pattern is to be organized. So she tells you, you basically just, you sew this thing together as it's as it comes in the jelly roll, right? So you don't change anything. So you sew it as it comes together. Now that's just how this specific jelly roll is, based upon the number of repeats and stuff like that. But I basically just started sewing. So I sewed together some long strip sets. Let me show you here what my strip sets look like. This is what I had left over. So you can see this strip set here, this strip set here. Actually, this is upside down. But these were my strip sets. This is what I have left over. So once you subcut your strip sets, well, just quick tip, when you're sewing together your strip sets, use the shortest stitch length that you can tolerate. I forgot to do that, and I think I did mine at my standard like 2.0 or 2.2. And once you subcut those strips, you know, those stitches start popping. So I would recommend no bigger than a 1.8 stitch length, but if you can tolerate a 1.5, do it. do it. So because then you'll have a lot less pop stitches here, like where your strip sets come together. Let's see if I can. Of course, these probably don't have much going on because these weren't handled. So since these were the strips that I had left over, I didn't have to handle them very much. So since they weren't being handled, I didn't have a lot of pop stitches. But you can see if you can see on this one here, that stitching doesn't go all the way to the end because there's a stitch that popped there. So I had quite a bit of that, which would have completely been remedied if I had used a shorter stitch length. So if you can do a 1.5, do a 1.5 to sew your strip sets together. She shows you how to iron your strip sets, and then she shows you how to subcut them. Once you subcut your strip sets, you're going to have, they're going to be labeled because she's going to say these are all A. Your A strips are going to look like this. Your B strips are going to look like this. Your C strips are going to look like this. This is how you're going to put them together. She shows you all of that in the pattern and in the video demo. Now what I chose to do, let's see if I can show you guys this without giving away anything. I chose to then, because you can see here, she shows you how to, like, the A strips go here, the B strips go here, you know, C, B. So I grouped them in sets of 2. So then I took like an AB and put it together and labeled that 1. I took a CB and put that together and labeled it 2. So I labeled these pairs of 2. And then once I sewed the pairs of 2 together, then I sewed those pairs of 2 together to make a pair of 4, and basically grew my quilt in that way, and that's how I kept everything organized. Now, I will also say that not a single pin was used in the construction of my quilt. I could have used pins and got really nice joins, but I didn't, because we're using batiks and the colors kind of blend together, and because there's so much movement in the quilt, I knew nobody was going to see it. So I personally did not take the time to pin all of those seams together, because if you follow the instructions, when you put your rows together, your seams are going to nest. Now my seams didn't exactly nest, and I know why they didn't, because of the pinked edges, right? First of all, my 1/4 inch seam is not the best. And then on top of that, the pinked edges kind of mess me up sometimes. So you can clearly see many places in my quilt. Let's see, here's one. Right, like right here. That's not, it's not enough contrast for you to even see. There's places where like the gaps were really large. Hold on. Oh, here's one. Like those seams are nowhere near each other. They're a cool 1/8 of an inch off, and I have a lot of that throughout my quilt, where my seams are like an 1/8 of an inch away from each other. And I could have mitigated all of that by pinning, but I didn't want to. This was just a really fun sew, and I just wanted to keep it that way, and I did not want the tedium of doing all those pins. So I personally just chose not to do it, right? It's my quilt, my rules, right? So, because, you know, there's, I mean, like 40 strips. So that would be 40 pins, or like 39 pins every time I sewed a row together. And that would have made it a little less fun. It would have been a lot more precise. But I'm fine with it the way it is. Like here's another, like there's tons of them. Let's see if you can see. I don't even think you can see that. Hold on. I don't know. You probably can't see. But like all over the quilt, there's probably, I don't know, 40 places minimum where the seams just didn't line up. And all of this to say, finished is better than perfect. And a lot of times no one can see that stuff anyway, because when I put this quilt up, you can't see the fact that these seams don't match, that they're off by 1/8 of an inch in many, 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 many places. You can't see that. You can't see it at all. There's so much movement. Now, I think if I had done prints instead of these like batiks that kind of blend, I might have chosen to pin. But given the fabric that I was working with, and honestly also if I was working with cotton, because the batik doesn't have as much stretch. So I do believe that had I been able to, if I was working with cotton that had a little bit more stretch, I probably could have stretched that cotton a little bit to get those seams to nest a bit more than I could with the batiks. But I am over the moon with how this came out. I think I might make a pillow or two, because I have this piece here. Now, it's not going to have the same bargello effect, right? Understanding that if I make a couple of pillows, it's not going to have the same bargello effect as my quilt, but at least it will match. And I have this piece here. And I have this little piece here. And I have this more substantial piece left over here. And from the, this was the the border strip that I cut that I ended up not needing. It was 2 3/4 yards for the border and binding. And then this was the fabric that was uncut. And then this was the kind of the scrap border fabric that I cut off that I had left over. So I definitely have enough here to make a pillow. So I think I'm going to do that. So anyway, again, love how this quilt turned out. And, you know, I was always a little bit intimidated by the bargello. So I just decided to start sewing. I just really didn't think about it. The bargello book that I have is The Quick Trip Around the World by Eleanor Burns, and so that was what I intended to be my first bargello. I intended it to be that I think it's called Quick Trip. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. So I have that Eleanor Burns book, and just really thought that was going to be the first bargello I made, because it was just a really approachable method that she had. But you know, this jelly roll method just appealed to me too. It was like, hey, just open the jelly roll and start sewing, and that's all I did. I don't even think I pressed out the center seam. So when I put those jelly roll strips together, I don't even think I pressed out the center seam. I sewed the 2 strips together, then I pressed it. And like I said, I just made sure, since I did not pre-treat the strips or the fabric with any steam, I just made sure that I kept it that way throughout, and I did not use any steam, and I just used a dry hot iron for the entire project. Batiks press so well, so you really don't need all of that steam anyway, and I'm super happy about this. I almost considered taking this with me and getting it quilted while I was on vacation, but I thought that would just be too much, because I would have to bring the big machine, and I don't know that I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. I just want to bring small projects that I can work on and conceivably complete in a few hours. So yeah, that was lengthy. This is my quilt. It's also the first thing that I finished since May. This is the first thing that I finished since May. I have worked on various things. I spent a lot of time not sewing, and just because I was busy and I was tired, and you know, when I did that pink and green Venus quilt in May, I had to rush to get that sucker done, and once I was done, I really just kind of was wiped out, and I just didn't have the push, the drive to really like get something done. and until I started working on this, because I was working on the Nightingale. Yeah, I was working on another project. Had about 8 blocks done, and said, I'm gonna do this. And just honestly, this went together so easily, and just watching it come together, seeing all the pretty colors, it just kind of inspired me to keep going, because it was just so pretty to look at. Because I would, as I sewed it together, as I sewed the pieces together, I would put them on my design wall just to make sure that I wasn't getting anything out of place, because I did not want to have to unsew anything. I think there might have been one, and I think I got like halfway down the row, you know, the seam, and I was like, wait a minute, and this is in the wrong place. And so I had to pick that out. I had to unsew it and attach it the correct way. Other than that, I pretty much kept this straight. I kept it organized. I used my design wall to make sure that everything was lining up properly and that I wasn't sewing any of my strips out of order. And it came out really, really great. I know that there are no more kits available. The kits sold out pretty quickly. So I know you can't get a kit, but I do know that this fabric is still available in certain places. And I also know that you can do this with other jelly rolls. You may just have to change the way you order them to make sure that your strip sets are the way that they're supposed to be, so that everything lines up the way that it is supposed to. And I know Monique did a video that I watched where she talked about that a little bit in regards to this pattern if you were to use a different jelly roll other than the Dusk to Dawn one. So that was lengthy for me. I'm sorry that I talk so much. I'm sorry I keep showing this quilt, but I just love it so much. I love it so much. I'm probably going to try to... No, I'm not. I was going to say I'm probably going to try to go ahead and get it basted, but I know I'm not going to do that. I know I'm not going to do that. It's going to take too long because I like to baste on a wall, and I don't have the room set up for me to baste on a wall right now. And not something this big. Actually, that's not true. No, I don't. I don't have my design wall stable enough at this particular moment to handle me basting this quilt because it's so big. It's big. It's big. At least it's big for me. You know, I normally stop at a lap size. This is 78 by 94. I normally 65 by 75 is normally where I max out. So generally I can wingspan length, right? That's generally the length that I kind of go for. So this is a little bit larger for me, but I love it. I recommend the pattern. This fabric is gorgeous. So now I just need to make myself a pillow to match. Yeah. So that's it for me. I've chatted on long enough. My apologies for this being so lengthy. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for tuning into my videos and listening to me rant. And I know that I haven't been up here quite as much lately, and for that I apologize. I am working on having a little bit more balance with, you know, my full-time job plus my side hustle, and then also having time to sew and make this content for you guys. So thank you so much for bearing with me. More to come. That's it for me, and I will see you guys next video.